All right, today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about our GIS database and our site selection tool on our website. If you go over to teamvolusiaedc.com, it will be embedded up in the top bar here. And what you'll do once you get to the website, which for those of you who haven't visited, there is the correct spelling of the website. Once you load the site, you're going to go mouse over site selection. And once you're over that, you don't click yet. You're going to scroll down to find sites and go ahead and click there. And this is going to bring up our GIS database within the web browser, and that's one of the key features with our GIS system is it doesn't have to open in another window. So therefore you don't have to deactivate pop-up blockers or anything like that. It'll load just how it is, and all will stay within our website. So the first thing you're going to notice when it pulls up is you're going to have a map here. It's similar to a Google style map. You can drag and click and move it, and you're going to see Volusia County outlined. And this GIS, although it will show the entire U.S. and possibly the world, I'm not sure, it will only list properties, or it only allows listings of properties within Volusia County. So anything you find on here is going to be within Volusia. And the first things you're going to see is you're going to see 5 properties listed down here. And by default, when you load our GIS system, it's going to load the featured properties. And we have the ability to make any property featured. And when they are featured, they will be listed on the front of the page as soon as the GIS is loaded. They will also have a little icon on the screen showing the location, which I'll show you a little bit more about that feature in a little bit. Now, if you want to view all, you can see we're viewing 1 of 5 of 18 properties. If we want to view all of them at once, you can click under Advanced and then View All, and that's actually going to load them in a list format. It will load a snippet of each property, as well as show the icon for the location of each property up in the top of the GIS system. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit about the tools, the formatting of it, and then we'll also have a follow-up video showing you how to add and edit properties in the back end of this system. Okay, so here you're going to have your normal map. Like I said, this is similar to a Google Maps or a MapQuest overview. You have the ability to switch it from map to satellite, which is going to be the actual picture image, which you can zoom in and, of course, see down to a satellite image. The terrain, the roads, the trees, and actual pictures of the property. Now it has drag to zoom over here, which once again is similar to Google Maps, and it actually is powered by Google. So as long as you know Google, then you should be okay. And you can also click this and drag this little guy anywhere, place him, and then it will take you down to Street View. All right, so you click the X, we get out of Street View, and we'll switch back to the map format for the purpose of this, and zoom out a little bit so we can see Volusia again. Okay, so down in the bottom corner, you're going to notice a bar called Search. And all you need to do is mouse over it, and it's going to bring up sites, buildings, communities, and businesses. And each of these are search criteria that affects how the data is pulled from the database. So for instance, I'll show you what each of them look like. Under sites, you can search by office, industrial, retail, and special. And then under each site, you have subtypes. So for instance, under industrial, we have all, business park, flex, light manufacturing, heavy manufacturing, and warehouse and distribution. So you can select those to narrow down your search fields if you're really looking for something specific. Down below that, under basic information, there's the acreage field. This lets you search, say we want a property that has a minimum of 10 acres, no maximum. So anything over 10 acres it'll show you, but you can also specify a min and a max. Then following that, you have financial, which this is where you choose if you like for sale, for lease, or if it doesn't matter either way. You can even get down to searching by property address or street name if you want to check and see if it's in our database. But the one bad thing about this feature is it does have to be pretty specific to find it. So if there's just a slight difference in the name or the address, then it will not be seen by the system. Down below you have geography, and under geography we have cities, counties, MSAs, and custom. And this lets you search within a certain geography. By default, if you don't select any of these, it's going to search within Volusia County. The system is designed to handle more counties, so under counties you have Volusia County, which by default, like I said, it will search within Volusia, so there's no need here. And then it also will list the MSA, which is Deltona, Daytona, Ormond. And you can also do a custom search, which I'll show the tools later for this, a radius tool and a polygon tool, where you can actually draw the area you want to search within. But for this demonstration, we're going to keep it simple. And then also under assets, we have different features that a prospect or a site selector may be looking for in a property. We can search properties with rail spurs, industrial parks, cranes, and this all is additive, so it will build off of this and grow by everything you select. So if we select business park with a minimum of 10 acres in Ormond Beach that has a rail spur, that's the only results you're going to get. And finally, down under advanced, we can search by sale price and lease rate. And under miscellaneous, we can search with property ID and broker ID. And the property ID is a property ID that is created by this system once it's put in. So you would have to get it from either an administrator or myself. And then under buildings, we have the same type of fields. And also we can search by communities. So if we want to search within DeBary and find an area that has a certain population size or a certain unemployment rate, we can get as specific as that. We can search through labor force with bachelor's degree or higher, percentage from and to, white collar, blue collar workers. We can do an area that has a proximity to the airport of less than 50 miles. You can search by household incomes and federal incentive areas. That's if you're looking for a community to relocate to. And then we have businesses where we can search, for instance, it gives you Starbucks up here. If we want a business that's within or greater than 10 miles from a Starbucks, or 10 miles close or within 10 miles to a Starbucks. And you can go under advanced, and it will bring up this business classes, subcategories, and so on. Okay, so for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to actually look under buildings. And we're going to go ahead and do an industrial building that we'll just do all for subtypes so we can get the most out of this. And we will do square footage. Let's do a minimum of 25,000 square feet. You don't need to put a comma in. And we're just going to do a minimum of 25,000, no max. And we don't care whether it's for sale or for lease. And we're going to go ahead and search within, let's just do Daytona Beach. Scroll down. I'm not going to select any assets. You can also select things such as foreign trade zones, or brownfields, CRAs, that type of stuff. Okay. And you can also, within buildings, select a minimum and maximum ceiling height, which I know is important to a lot of manufacturers. So we're going to go ahead and search industrial all, 25,000 feet plus, within Daytona Beach. So we're going to click search buildings. And because we already selected show all earlier, or view all, it is going to, by default, show all of them on the map and give them to you in list format. Now, if you wouldn't have selected that, you would have only seen 5 properties, and it would have said viewing 1 through 5 of 14. And you would have had to go to advanced view all to see all of them, or just go to a second page or a third page. So what this will do now is it's going to show us all 14 properties within Daytona that we chose to use, or that came up, I'm sorry, from our search. And down here is the small report for each of them. Now, when we get up to the top here, we have these other tools. One of them is the legend. And when you mouse over the legend, you're going to see a blue blank box, and that's okay. I know some people have thought something was wrong with their system, but it is supposed to be blank until we put an overlay in it. And then tools, which I'll show you here towards the end, a few of the cool tools in here. And then we have the overlays field. Now, for instance, let's add brownfields to this and enterprise zones. We'll go ahead and get out of there. And now it's going to show us color-coded areas. And this is where the legend comes into play. If you go over to legend, you're going to see brown is for the brownfields, and the purple is where your enterprise zones are. So that's when your legend will populate. So let's turn these two off, and we can select population. Now, it'll take a second to load once you click population because it is so dense. You can go back to your legend, and you can see population by block group. and this will show your code or your legend for each area. Okay, so we'll turn that off now. And what we're going to do is show how a property listing works. So let's, for instance, pick this one here, the first one, at 833 West International. So if we click on it, it's going to give us a very small report, almost a sample report, and it's going to give us some options. We can look at the street view from here. We can save it to our folder, which will save the property over here in your folder. And that's good if you're looking at multiple properties and don't want to have to recreate a search. It will save it to your folder. You can go in the folder and view it without having to do the entire search there. So we're going to go in here, and now we're going to go to zoom in. And this is going to bring us within a pretty close radius of the property. And you can start to see some buildings that are around there. We can switch to satellite view and hopefully see the property. There we go. We'll switch back to map. Now say we want to find out more about this property. If you go here below where we went to zoom, you're going to find full report. So go ahead and click on full. And down at the bottom of the page, you're going to find the property report, and it's going to have a few tabs up here. The main property report is going to give you the pictures, which you can select on to view, property details, which covers the type, the minimum divisible, max available, when the property was last updated, the address. It's going to have the contact name and the address. So for this one, it's Aswin, Surrey. And it's going to show it down here on Google Maps. And it's also going to have a QR code. So if you have a QR scanner on your phone, you can click this, or you could send it to somebody so they could click it from their phone, and you can see it out on the go. You can view it right on your mobile device. Then we have the availability. So yes, it is for sale. If it is for lease, it will say for lease. Sale price of $1.8 million. Total square footage. It has your building details, which includes the material, max contiguous space, when it was built. The site details covers the acreage, the zoning, the parcel ID, and the frontage. Some have more utilities than other. This one is just showing water provider as a city. And then you have your notes. And the notes are good to go ahead and highlight the amenities that the property has. If you have a property description from a property report or a property flyer, you can go ahead and put all that here. All right, so we'll scroll back up to the top, and then we have all these other tabs. We have labor force, demographics, consumer spending, wages, and business. So if we go to labor force, it's going to show us the labor force statistics within a 10-mile radius of the property. So if you scroll up to the screen here, or to the map, you're going to see a radial ring around the property, and this does a 10-mile study. Now, say we want to look closer than that, what we can do is click Modify Report, and under radius and miles, let's change that to a 2. We can also search by minutes and drive time as well, which I know is important to a lot of people. So we click Generate, and now it's going to shrink it down to a 2-mile radius, and it's going to readjust our labor force report. And this covers the establishments, the employees within 2 miles, establishments by size, establishment type. It gets pretty in depth, and also you notice there's a chart here, and that brings up, oops, computer's going crazy, and that brings up a pie chart that breaks down the establishments by size or whatever other field you're under. Then we can go to demographics. Under demographics, this is a little bit different. This takes the 2010 census data over on the left column here, and then on the right column we have a 5-year projection, which 2016. And this also features the charts, and this page for the demographics report will give you population, your male and female breakdown, age distribution, race distribution, total households, household income distribution, labor force status, and so on, educational attainment, size of households. It's a pretty thorough report here, and like I said, it also does on the right give you a 5-year projection. If you go down to the bottom, just forgot to mention that this is GIS data. Okay, and also when you switch from one tab to another, it does automatically default it back to the original 10-mile radius. and this one is 10 miles. So if we want to modify it, we would just go in here and put 2 in the radius and generate, and it will automatically regenerate that demographics report. Okay. Next, we go to consumer spending, and this once again is in the 10-mile radius. So we will bring it down to 2 miles. Generate that. Okay, and this will give us a 2011 projection, once again based on 2010 census data. And we can scroll down and see the consumer spending by apparel, education, entertainment, food and beverages, pretty much any retail category within the area. Okay. Following that, we have wages, and this will give you the wage report for the MSA. So this does not, we may be able to modify it. No, it does not give us the option to modify, which is one I've never done anyhow. So this is the wages report for the MSA, the Deltona, Daytona, Ormond Beach. And this is a pretty thorough list. It covers most of the occupations based on the NAICS codes. And we'll give you the average and the median. And then finally, this is a cool tool for not only site selectors, but even for somebody looking for pizza in the area or a new restaurant. But it does have its importance for site selectors and real estate professionals as well. This breaks down within a 1-mile radius by default the business report within the area. This breaks down the business types. And for this one, let's search under retail. So you click the plus, and now it's going to break it down into subtypes. So you have new car dealerships, used car dealerships, motorcycle, ATV, and watercraft dealers, and it just goes on and on for major retail. This is home, food, automobiles, and personal care. And now you're down here, you do also see there is retail, hobby, media, general merchandise. So what we can do is let's go into new car dealerships within a mile radius, and this actually shows you the specific names plus their estimated sales and estimated employees. We can click on John Hall Honda, and that will actually show us on the map where it's at, give us the website link, and also the information that it gave us down below. So that's a pretty cool tool. Okay, so now let's say we're done with this property, but we like it and we want to come back to it later. There's a few options we have with that. First thing we can do is print it. If you click print, it will print the full property report, and I think it will print the map view as well. Then under export, we can export it if we want to send it to somebody or save it in a folder as a PDF file, Excel document, or a Word document. Then we can also save it, and the save feature is cool because we can save certain reports. We don't have to save the entire property. If you just want to get the reports for a certain area, you can actually just save the report. But what we're going to do for this purpose is go to save all reports, and that's going to bring it up here and put it in my folder. Okay. And you can also share these. So if you want to share a link to this property on through your email, if you want to get the hyperlink for your website, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, Google+, all of those, you do have the option to do that. And finally, under attachments, some properties will have attachments, which could be the property sheets, it could be a video of the property, but they will be up here if they do have those. Okay. So that's pretty much how a search works on this. And what I'm going to do is I'll zoom out a little bit to show you a couple of the tools that are really cool. Let's say that we want to check the distance from this property here, which is the 833, to Ridgewood Avenue. Just for purpose of this exercise, we're going to pick something easy. You can actually go under Tools, and under Tools, we're going to click Measure. Now you should see a crosshair pop up. Now we can select right here next to it. We just click once and drag, and it will change on the fly to show you the distance. And there you have it. You can also add. If you want to add another one, you need to hit A. And then we can check the distance from here to that intersection. So it's a pretty cool feature, and once you want to get rid of it, you just cancel the measure tool. Also, we have the area selection tools, which I showed earlier was a function that we could use when we were trying to search properties. The radius one is pretty simple. So you can click one spot, and then you pick the radius of your circle, and there you go. Remember, that is radius, so it's not going to come up with the diameter. You're just drawing from the center to one edge. And now, once you do that, you can apply the filter to a search. You can click stop to get it to disappear, or you can reset it. So right now we're going to stop using it, and we're going to go to the radius tool. Or I'm sorry, let's go to the polygon tool. So we can select here, and select here, and then right here. And that'll give us a good city block, which these can also be adjusted. But that will let us select within a city block, or if we want, we can select within an area on the west coast, the north side of the county. So that's a pretty efficient tool, or pretty useful tool as well. All right, and finally, there is the drag zoom tool. And this one will just give you a little reminder once you do it. In order to use drag zoom, all you need to do is hold down the shift key while clicking and dragging. All right, so we hold down shift, and that's going to bring up a crosshair, and there you go. Now it's zoomed to that little spot that I just selected. So that's a good tool if you're trying to pinpoint a spot instead of having to zoom in and then move it over, and it can get confusing. So it is a good tool. But that's the end. Stay tuned for another video following this, which will show how to use the back end of it if you want to get in to add or edit your properties. You can go ahead and shoot me an email, which my contact info will be at the end of the presentation here. You can shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'll set you up with an administrative profile, and you can get on the back end and put your own properties in to add to the database. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.